Hello everyone, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Fulu and this is Get Candid with Fulu, where we talk about everyday life issues. I bring my personal opinion and that of any other invited guests on the show. On today's episode, I will be talking about how how I chose my place of worship and where I am with that. I mean, granted that, religion can be somewhat of a sensitive topic, but it's just what I would like to talk about on this episode. So, in the comments, I would like you to let me know what prompted you or how you chose your place of worship when you maybe got older and out of your parents' house, or if you relocated and things like that. So personally, I was born Methodist and I had no desire to change anything like that. I was obviously there through my my childhood days. In secondary school, we were more Anglican in the school I went to. We used ancient and modern, and it was more of the Anglican kind of thing. So I've been used to just the Orthodox kind of worship using hymn books and things like that. So I went to university. I went to Babcock University actually, and that's equally a Christian school but Seventh-day Adventist. So there we also used hymn books, but it was a little bit different, a bit of a different doctrine. So on Sundays we were free to go out of the school, and we would go to this Redeemed Christian Fellowship. So that was my first, I would say, exposure to going to more of a Pentecostal church. So we would do that on Sundays, and it was interesting. It was actually nice. I remember one particular event where the then pastor Bimbo Dukoya came. I mean, it was so much fun. I mean, she spoke so well and eloquently, and yeah, so I was interested in that, I have to say. And after university, we moved to England, and my uncle was like the choir director in a Redeemed church in England. So that made us start going to that Redeemed church. So I was there for a little bit, and at some point I was a little bit tired of just, for me personally, it was just a lot of competition of what you're wearing and things like that. So there was just a lot of, in my opinion, more of show. Everything was kind of for show, like your clothes, your car, and stuff like that. So I was not very comfortable with that. So I decided that I was going to stop going there. And there was a Baptist church right down the road from where I lived. So I started to go to that Baptist church. Very, very quick, straight to the point. You go in, we were using hymn books there as well. Within an hour or an hour and a half, you were done, and nobody knew anybody. I mean, people would ask, "Oh, are you new in the area?" and things like that. But it was just more about the worship, and I really liked that. So I started to go there, and I believe I went there up until I left England, and then, back in Nigeria, I went back to, because I went back home, so I went back to Methodist church. And then at some point, I didn't want to go to the Methodist church again. And then there was a Redeemed church down the road from our house. I started to go there. And I think I went there for a little bit, but my dad was very insistent. He wanted us to remain in the Methodist church. So I believe I would go to the Methodist church close to the house, because he was going to a different one. I was going to a different one. But for him, as long as it was Methodist, he was fine with it. So I'll go to Methodist church close to the house. The English service was quick. Within an hour and a half, we were done. So I would go there, and then afterwards I would come and go to the Redeemed church. So I did that for a little bit until I left home. When I left home and I moved to Lagos, where did I go in Lagos? Actually, you know what? I started to go to, because we're living in Yaba then. So I started to go to the Methodist church in Yaba. I actually went there for a little bit, and then I moved back to Ibadan. So yeah, there was a bit of a yo-yo. And anyway, fast forward, when I started really living on my own, I started to go to a Redeemed Church again in Lagos, in Lekki. And then after a while, I got tired. Again, it was such a large church. And for me, it was just a little bit too much. I think I prefer more of a smaller church, just personally. I think it was just too much. And I had met my husband then, and we would go there for a little. We would go together. He liked that church. He liked the music. He liked the praise and worship. And praise and worship, I think, is very important. How you choose to praise God, you need to connect wherever you're going. But at some point, because he had come back to the United States, I was still there. So I started to go to an Anglican church not too far from me. And I was going there for a little bit. And I was going there. And I invited him when he came back again. And I said, listen, let's go to this Anglican church. He didn't like it. So I went back to that same Redeemed Church. And I was going to the Redeemed Church up until I left to come to the US. Now, coming to US, I knew I was never going to go to a Nigerian church. I was very particular about that, just because, of my experience when I was in England. And I was just very, very certain that I did not want to go to it. Again, it's a personal decision, right? Even though I still connect more to my Nigerian worship, but just the whole experience, I just was not going to do that. So where we lived, I asked if we could go to this Baptist church not too far from where we lived. I mean, my husband was already there, and he came along, and we went maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and it's like, no, I'm not feeling the praise and worship. I mean, it was white worship, and white worship is more rock, the guitar and things like that. I mean, you guys watch Hillsong and things like that. So that's how the worship was. I was fine with it. I liked it, and it was so casual. You were in church, people were wearing jeans and things like that. Of course, I would still wear like my Ankara, or I still believe that Sunday's best. That's just who I am. So, but yeah, it was very, very, I liked it. I just liked it. But he did not. So he said, well, there's a church that he's been going to, and that's where he wants us to go. It was a bit of a distance from where we were, but okay. I mean, let's go there. This was more of an African-American Baptist church, so predominantly Black. We went there, and he's like, yeah. And this was my first experience with an African-American church. I mean, I watched, the preacher's, is it the preacher's son or something? There's this movie, right? There's some movies, where you watch them and you see in the church and things like that. But for me personally, I thought, well, it's a movie, I know some of it could be real, but I just thought that it was a bit exaggerated because it was a movie. No, it's not exaggerated. That the movies don't even begin to capture it. I'm telling you, I was stunned. Truly, my first few experiences there, I was just like this, just watching with my mouth wide open. And what was so amusing to me was just their way of worshiping and hollering, hollering. Like if the pastor is preaching and they're not hollering, he will say stuff like, you're not answering me today, or things like that, because people are not saying yes, oh yeah, I want to do it, and things like and things like that. For me personally, church is a solemn place. Church is where you go, you listen to the word, you're in a solemn mood, not screaming and yelling and jumping and then they have these beats where they are playing when you're done with praise and worship, or maybe you're in the middle of finishing the choir rendition and then the preacher is coming on. Once they start that beat, it's time to it's time for a me. It's time to, and then you see those leg walk. They have leg walk. You see that leg walk. You see the I'm telling you, it was stunning. And I remember one particular instance I put on my phone and I wanted to start recording. And my husband had to tell me to stop because I wanted to record it and send it to my sister that, well, you have not seen anything, because I think there was this Steve Harvey thing that she sent to me where he was talking, or he was kind of like imitating the African American church. And I want to tell her Steve Harvey was absolutely right. This is exactly what goes on here. But yeah, so that was a bit distracting for a little bit. But my husband likes the church, and I think it's important that we go to the same church. So I started to go there. I mean, the music was not bad. I actually enjoyed the music too. So eventually I joined the choir. And I mean, I've been going there now for at least 4 years. I did their membership class. I got baptized there. And I joined the choir, and I'm still there. And even though, you know, some of those things still bring a smile to my face, but I'm more used to it. As a matter of fact, even me, I started to holler. I'm telling you, I've started to holler. I'm telling you, on days where I'm not in the choir stand and maybe I'm in the congregation with my husband and I'm hollering from there, my husband looks at me and says, you too? So that's how I came to start going to the church I go to. So I mean, yeah, it's I like it. I think that the message is there. The message definitely is there, and I enjoy the worship too. And when we get to the part where it gets very amusing, I try to. So what I try to do when I'm worshiping and I don't want any distractions, is just close my eyes. Once I close my eyes, then I'm not seeing anything that is going to distract me. I'm able to focus on my own, because honestly, for somebody who's not used to it, for somebody who was not born there and has not been exposed to that all of her life, it is very, very distracting for me. But yeah, that's how I came to join my current place of worship. So yeah, I'm curious to hear from you guys. I mean, how are you just one that, okay, I've always been Pentecostal, that's where I'm gonna go. If I've always gone to, let's say, CAC, wherever I go, I'm gonna find a CAC church. Or are you open to other options? Are you open to other worship experiences? I'd like to hear from you. But yeah, that's it from me today on this episode of Get Candid with Folu. Until next time, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you later. Bye.